All right, everyone. Trump has decided to postpone his meeting with Rosenstein. Of course, that big news from a couple days ago is essentially, hey, Trump is planning to fire him or force him to resign. Something's happening. Originally, it was like Shitpost Central, CNN, the Washington Post, and Vox, and all these groups, Axios, certainly. They all screwed the pooch, and like half of them got it wrong. They're like, well, Rosenstein has already resigned. Then they're like, oh, he's going expecting to be fired. And that's like, oh, this was just an hour-long mundane meeting. Yeah, he probably is on the chopping block if Kavanaugh is confirmed. And that's really why they bumped the meeting. Basically, Trump's like, well, I'm going to wait until I know Kavanaugh's in there or not in there. Then I'll tackle this problem. I have a feeling. Here's what I think with regards to this. I think a backroom deal was struck with regards to Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh was of course, not my first choice of who I'd want to see on the Supreme Court. He sided with the Bush admin in regards to surveillance. He's a neocon, basically. Why then would the establishment want to take him down, including apparently the flake Republicans, like the McMuffin sort of Republican never Trumpers? Why would they want to, get rid of the neocon? A little bit of a floor show. I think that basically Trump was promised, yeah, Kavanaugh will definitely cooperate with regards to the Mueller bullshit. We'll pull that aside, but you need to give us a neocon justice. Basically, we'll pull back if you give us what we want here, and it's basically a backroom negotiation. That could actually be what's happened, which would explain why a handful of Republicans are still stonewalling. They're the ones that aren't in the know, I guess. Lindsey Graham, I guess, is in the know, which is funny since he was McCain's cohort / possibly something else, we'll just say. It's going to be funny to see how that plays out. I think they're going to hold the vote today, actually, if reports are true. But knowing Grassley and all these others, they might just push it back again over and over and over. And like 2 years from now, we still will have, well, at that point, 7 people on the Supreme Court, because Ginsburg. I mean, come on. They're going to have to fucking make an animatronic Ginsburg in order to convince people that she's still alive. At some point, she's just going to look like a fucking mummy. It's going to be pretty damn clear the gig is up. And the thing is, though, with the Rosenstein meeting, he should have fired him on principle. He should have fired him right away. He could have almost gotten away with it too. I think Trump's being very cautious here because that's, sort of, what you do in a business situation. You've got something very tenuous and very stressful, like a witch hunt hanging over your head. You don't want to break a bunch of rules and smash your way through things if you can operate with a bit more finesse. Trump has chosen the route of finesse, which is actually, this is the calculating behind closed doors side of Trump that the public often doesn't see, which is right now people are trying to cast him off as he's still unhinged, basically. He's going to fire Rosenstein, he's going to destroy everything's going to be destroyed, Civil War 2.0, and all this stuff. No, he's actually being very cold and calculating with regards to this because he is a political pragmatist enough to know he would face some degree of calls for impeachment if he were to fire Rosenstein out of the blue. Now, if Kavanaugh's there, and if after the midterms the Republicans have held their own in the Senate, he's not going to give a fuck. He'll fire Rosenstein, get rid of Mueller, the probe will be done. Good riddance, by the way, it should be done. It's beginning to obstruct the basic components of government to the point where there's too much strangulation. It's like, I like a strangled government as much as the next person. I wish we would shut it down and let it stay shut down. I think we should fire 90% of the federal workforce. I think that we could do without most of the people in Congress. They don't do anything anyway. Fuck the government, but it's gotten to the point where it's so dysfunctional, it's almost worse than if it's functional and occasionally gets shitty legislation. It really has become that bad. It's become that much of a circus. It's a freak show. We've got a blatantly partisan political process with regards to SCOTUS, which we're not supposed to have. Even Kavanaugh has to invoke party loyalty in his speech. I'll speak about that more in the main video of the day. It's crazy to see this. It's certainly not normal. You haven't had this in the process quite to this degree at any time, as far as I know, in U.S. history. And then you've got Rosenstein looming over the whole thing, but he's gone to the White House. He knows that he's gone. He knows that he's probably going to get fired or be forced to resign. If the latter, he gets to keep his pension, but then all the McCabe's and Sturzoks and other assorted sleazebags who keep getting forced out of government, they don't need a pension at this point. They use GoFundMe. In the most literal sense, they use GoFundMe and accept a $2-3 million book deal, like Comey did. That's all they need. Look, they can make millions. They don't care. Let's say that Trump is unpopular. That means anyone who says that they don't like Trump and think he's yucky is popular among tens of millions of people. That's pretty damn lucrative if you're trying to sell, your cheap paperback, or you're going on the speaking circuit. Yeah, you can probably get some good money. I get the point. Where somebody, it's like some fucking random YouTuber can get paid to go give a speech or something. Just imagine, again, Rod Rosenstein, former deputy AG, #resist, the man who tried to take on Trump. I fought the law and the law won, but, now I'm speaking to you here. Listen to what I have to say and pay $100 a plate to do it. They can make a lot of money doing it, and Rod Rosenstein, he definitely will capitalize on it. And it is his right. Like, I don't have any problem with that, but it's really funny when people think they're like a political maverick, like they've joined the Rebel Alliance or something. It's really funny. Meanwhile, lesser people would have already fired Rosenstein for not doing his fucking job. The same is true of Jeff Sessions. Like, Jeff Sessions is the ultimate linchpin. At the very least, he should be fired. The problem is, if Trump fires him and puts someone in there who does crack down on the probe, then by extension, Trump gets blamed for it, even if he doesn't give a fuck. Let's say in a million years, Trump doesn't even care about the probe because he knows that he's innocent of any wrongdoing, and he's just replacing Sessions because Sessions is an embarrassment, which he is. It'd be pretty funny. He'd probably still have calls for impeachment. They would spread beyond the far left. Like, the corporate neo-libs would begin to seriously consider the possibility. I don't think he'd be in danger of being removed from office. Ultimately, I think it might backfire even on the Democrats, but he doesn't want to have to deal with that. If the problem is obstruction, having an impeachment proceeding lodged against him will just obstruct things even more. You'd see total shutdown and strangulation. Not, hey, this artery is 90% blocked with fucking McDonald's lard, but rather, it's completely blocked. At this point, you might as well just fucking cut it out of your chest for all the good it's doing you. They give you an angioplasty. That's basically, our government needs an angioplasty at this point. It's so stopped up. It's like a shitter that can't shit. It's got a 5-foot-long fecal impaction. It's like one for the legendary history books. That's basically how DC is functioning. So yeah, I do want to see Rosenstein gone, but Trump's he's got to dance around it a little bit, and he's certainly going to wait until after the Kavanaugh stuff. That's why the delay. That's about all. Peace out.